here this weekend, and also will be a long way behind him with 700 points. Justin Marks not here. He's busy doing NASCAR, but he's had a fantastic season. David Petarek, 5th. Matthew Brabham not racing in this race, but he too has had a sensational season, winning early on and then backing up Dyson to take that 3rd title. We'll be on board with Will Rogers in that bright orange 3rd place car just ahead of Dyson. You see Dreesy in the MAV TV Lucas Oil number 8, bright blue behind him. Then it's Mark Austin. Wang is 7th, Lowry 8th, we mentioned him, and his daughter doing the command there for the Bennett Bridge Hall Mercedes AMG GT3. Michelle Nagai from the West Coast, she comes in the Chevrolet Camaro with Nagai Racing and Berkeley Jet Drive. Looking forward to seeing what they can do. Ricky Sanders, we spoke to him in the run-up to the race. Looking forward to racing on this huge field. A whole bunch of XDT cars and a whole bunch of GT cars, more than we've ever had all season. Now you can see them getting 2x2. Is it hard to form up like this?
You read my mind. I was just going to say this is one of the trickiest places to get side-by-side through because of that stadium section. You go through that Mission Food Stadium section, and it's super, super tricky. And we need to be bunched up because, you know, we're coming to green here, and the flag stand is just past halfway point on the front straightaway, but yeah, it's time that the back of the field needs to get caught up to this, and this is going to be really interesting here because Chris Dyson has not shown the 1-lap pace, but anytime we've seen that out of the 3-time champion in the past this year, he has shown race pace. His race pace has been phenomenal. So I look for him to have good race pace here. It's going to be really interesting with Will Rogers, a heck of a shoe here, taking that XGT car and putting it up in the mix of these TA cars. This is going to be really fun to watch. Jonathan Green through turn 20, coming to this green flag. Call it, buddy.
Yeah, doesn't get any better than this. The grand finale here at the Circuit of the Americas, 2x2. They'll head up that famous hill here at the Circuit of the Americas. The final race of the year. Gar Robinson on the right, Boris Said on the left in the grey. They get racing. Good start from the Lucas Oil number 8 of Tommy Dreesy. Rogers locks up slightly in the orange. Round the outside goes Dyson, but it's going to be Gar. Gar Robinson, the 2-time champion, holding off Boris Said at the start. One of the AMGs goes wide and high. Tommy Dreesy, we're on board as he's losing spaces. He's down to 7th already, but Dreesy will be coming back, and he's already made up 1 spot. Great start to this one, clean start to this one, but frenetic.
Yeah, very good. And again, you look back at those XGT cars mixing it up. Chris Dyson was able to clear Will Rogers, which was really important for him in his race at the front of this TA field. It was good side-by-side running with Boris Said in the Engineer Components Dodge Challenger up against that 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet Camaro.
Over the top at 10. We're on board with Chris Dyson, the 3-time champion. Long way to go yet. 30 laps or 100 miles. Under braking, heavy braking now. Boris Said hitting that bump nicely. Where's Rogers gone? He's disappeared.
Yeah, we have lost Rogers, but we have Mark Austin, who's there in the mix in that beautiful AMG Mercedes-Benz, who's just clicking it off right
Rogers
there.
Rogers pulling off to the side just before 11.
It looks like possibly a flat tire.
Yeah, it could be.
Is what it looks like he's possibly fighting here.
Yeah, look, you can see how he's fighting the wheel.
Yeah.
He's going to try to make it or just sort of get back to the pits and see if he can get it fixed.
And that's tricky, right? Because you don't want that carcass to come apart. It looks like the right rear tire is down on the rim, so you've got to be careful that you're not starting to rip away this really, really thin bodywork that they have on there. Those tires, if the carcass starts to fall around, as we climb on board here with the 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet Camaro, Gar Robinson, 2-time Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series champion, coming back here to lay it down for the first time in a TA car. I've been telling that young man for years that ever since I sat foot in a TA car, that was what Gar Robinson was built for, is TA cars. He is so good at high horsepower stuff, and boy, you don't get much more high horsepower than what we have here in the TA series.
Yeah, and Gar Robinson's as sharp as ever. He's just come off a brilliant year in IMSA, and yeah, there's no question it wasn't a surprise to many that he took the pole position from away from the regulars, because Dyson and Boris Said know just how good he is. He's had a phenomenal IMSA season, and he continues it here in Trans Am, coming back to his happy hunting ground and home of Texas. Obviously, the Californian of Lucas number 8 and MAV TV's Tommy Dreesy now trying to get back onto level terms as the TA class begin to slowly pull away from the rest of the field. But Danny Lowry, Mark Austin, Wang, all involved. Nagai there in 8th place. Ricky Sanders 9th. Chris Coffey, a regular, another Texan in 10th position. De Silva, then Dallenbach, all the way up to 12th already. So Wally still got what he had back then in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Wally's I expect Wally to come through this field in that ultimate headers Dodge Challenger rather quickly and make short work of it. He's always as hungry as ever. I just love spending the weekends with Wally Dallenbach Jr. and his energy and his thirst for this sport still is still so strong. And we're really excited for where we're going to go forward with Ultimate Headers Racing in 2024. But looking here at Mark Austin, the leader of XGT, was really mixing it up there inside that TA field. But Tommy Dreese was able to clear him. Those GT3 cars and the TA cars make their lap time in vastly different areas around the racetrack. But it's amazing how it really evens out on the stopwatch, because obviously the GT3 cars are going to make their lap time in the tight section as we come through there, but also the TA cars, these long straightaways in the full throttle area that we're under, you can't match that 900 horsepower and what's going on there. As we see Gar Robinson negotiating here through turn 16.
Here's Rogers. Yeah, and they're lifting it. It is right rear. You're right. And he's going to try and get going again, obviously. If it is just a puncture and there's no damage to the internals or the suspension or the brake discs,
there's a chance to stay, on the lead lap, and this is your leader right here, so you'd have to get it done quick. But there was an off chance that he was going to be able to stay on the lead lap. And bring this fight. But we're watching Tommy Dreese come into this fight. Tommy has had a wonderful weekend this weekend.
He doesn't often have them.
Yeah, he's been struggling. There's been no secret to the struggles he's had. But he came here to Cota, and he's been a serious contender all weekend long. Every session he's been at the pointy end of it, and it's just really good to see it out of that Lucas Ford Mustang. Beautiful livery, MAV TV supported there, and just really excited to see that, his season's looking like it's going to end on a nice high note here.
Yeah, I noticed a little body damage, but nothing that would cause any problems, and he's definitely closing in. Talking of problems, though, here's a problem for the 12. That's Jack Rinke and Rinky Dink, and unfortunately the back of the car is off, and so too the side of it. So big problems for Jack. You can see the whole.
Yeah, that's not good there. Yeah, in the back, it looks like that might have been some help there. I don't know, or he backed into an area on the racetrack, or someone met the front bumper to his rear bumper. But we're not seeing anyone else with the damage to prove that. But you mentioned a little bit of body damage on Tommy Dreese's car. That is familiar territory.
Yeah.
The bodywork guys over at 3GT over there, they definitely get their money's worth out of the year. And this is a great battle here for second
Larry
and third.
Wang, yeah.
Yeah, and XGT, and as that Lamborghini really tried to shoot off there to get the run on the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3. This is a good battle here, because these two cars, again, they make their lap time in different areas, and they fall under the rules of the FIA homologation and the FIA balance of performance. So this is very similar to what you see in GT racing all around the world, and we got it right here in our backyard of Trans Am. We love this.
Yeah, totally good. And this goes back to the start of Trans Am, because it started off as a sedan series and a production-based series, and then we got the tubular flames and the silhouette of the TA and a TA2. So Wang!
Trying to cut underneath. Wang was trying to get that run underneath, and just had a little bit too much throttle with steering angle, and it wasn't enough it was too much to handle there. But I would say with the pace that Wang has, that he's going to close that gap pretty quick, right back up to Danny Lowry.
So we've got Will Rogers in the pits at the moment, and you can see he's putting his hands in the air in frustration because he's still there, and he's just going to have to wait. But we're going to pause for a bit while he waits. We'll do the same. But at the front, it's Robinson, Said, and Dyson. That's your top three. Dreese, bit by bit, reeling in. Dyson, Austin right there, leading in XGT. And we've got a great battle, or it was a good battle, between Larry and Wang. Wang just got turned around. Here's our GT leader. And, yep, GT just as, well, the strongest GT battle we've had in a long time. Chris Coffey in the hunt in that one, in that rather fantastically painted car.
It's awesome. It sounds great. I mean, everything about that Maserati is brilliant. I touched on this when we were at VIR. I got to be neighbors with Coffey and their whole race team, at VIR, and got to know them quite well, and get some stories. And You know, it's amazing, you know, how things worked out for him to acquire this car. Didn't even know the car existed. And now, you know, he's out here doing what he does. You know, he did this last year, came out here, sat on pole, won the race. And he is on target to do that if he keeps it nice and clean. As we see Will Rogers entering the track again, a couple, 3 laps down or so. But, you know, you never know what happens here at Cota, and you cannot give up around this, you know, 3.4-mile circuit.
Oh, never say never. You're absolutely right. We've seen in the past, and we saw it in TA2 last year, that if you give up, you can ruin the championship. Merrill winning on a countback of an equal number last year, and not able to do it this year. But Brent Cruz is our new champion, the youngest ever. But Will Rogers back out on track from what was looks like.
And he's going to stay off the curbing. You notice it right now. You use a lot of curbing here at Circuit of the Americas. He's staying off curbing because he's got new tires. So you got to be nice to the tire there for, you know, a good half lap to a full lap. You know, stay off the curbing, stay off the loading it real hard, and you know, that's what he's doing. So he's being real smart. Exactly what you would expect out of a driver like Will Rogers. He is an exceptional talent, and just again, another one of those talents we're just so happy to have here in the Trans Am Series.
30 laps, it goes from 5. We are at 5 now, 30 in all. And we welcome back our MAV TV viewers. Gar Robertson leading the way. Boris said it second. Chris Dyson and Tommy Dreesy. We've got great battles going on, though, throughout. Here's the production class battles further down the order a little. And the GT class just as hardly fought, with so many West Coast guys involved in it in terms of the West Coast in what's up for grabs. Obviously, we've got, we saw Rogers out there. He's already won his XGT championship. JC Manette on double duty today. He's out there too.
And I tell you, this battle in GT, you know, for the last podium spot with David Hampton, J.C. Minette, as you just mentioned, and Todd Naparowski, is really a strong battle and a fun thing going on too, as we got a battle up front here as well for the last podium spot in the TA top class that you're looking at there. Tommy Dreesy is filling the mirrors of Chris Dyson, and you know, there's this could be one of those epic battles that we've seen of these two championship drivers over the years.
178 miles an hour down the long back straight here at the Circuit of the Americas. It doesn't get any better than this, folks. Beautiful day here in Austin, Texas, and on board with our 3-time champion Chris Dyson, continuing a 40-year legacy for the Dyson family. And his dad will be pretty proud of what he's achieved. It's never hard, it's never easy. I'm sitting next to a man who knows that, to be in a family of success when it comes to racing, but Dyson has done it perfectly so far and has carried the family name well.
Absolutely. I mean, he's you know, like very few are 3 times champion in this great series, and he's one of them. So on top of that, all the wins and poles that they've racked up, it's been a very, very successful program, and there's no slowing down for them. It seems soon as we watch Gar Robinson really stretch this lead out. He stretched this lead out to over 3.5 seconds. Now at the point, you know, being Bill Riley inside, I'm sure, is on the box there on the microphone with him. This is 100 miles on one tire, so he hasn't done that in a long time. Gar Robinson, this is a great battle.
This is SGT, and it's Michael LaPaglia, and it's really good stuff. Forsyth and LaPaglia going at it. LaPaglia coming back in the Mustang. He's already had a podium in the TA2 race in the West Coast, and he's at it again here.
And Michael, really nice guy. We got to meet each other on the grid here this year in the TA2 class, and I didn't even notice until I came to do, you know, was studying for the broadcast here about him doing double duty this weekend.
Yeah.
And this is a physical racetrack, so to jump right out of a TA2
That's 200 miles of racing at 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's so, you know, hats off to him and his fitness level and where he's doing, because he's obviously, you know, the concentration levels there, and he's in a great battle here for this position in GT.
Well, we can confirm Jack Rinke in the 12 was retiring with suspension damage to that car. We saw him slowing down. The other big incident, Will Rogers in and out and got a new tire, and he's off and running as this GT battle, SGT battle, excuse me, Super GT as it's known. We've got the GT classes of XGT and SGT, and this is your battle for SGT.
Yeah, Forsyth doing a really good job.
He's doing a good job.
Yeah, this is for the win. You know, this is for the lead. So there's not going to be any holding back from either of these drivers. And Michael's looking home to take a lot of hardware from this weekend. And so it's going to be hard to try and wrestle that away as we watch back on board the 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet Camaro of Gar Robinson as he goes through that really fun 16, 17, 18 section takes tons of commitment. Big bump there at the end there of 18. Turning into turn 19, you'll see him kind of cheat right there over the curbing. Perfectly legal, perfectly within the track limits here. There's two approaches that you can have to 20. You can either straddle that curbing and make the arc a little bit longer, or you can do what Gard did and just kind of keep yourself on that side of the curbing of the gator back there and not upset the tire. Looking at Boris Said in the engineered components, Dodge Challenger, Anchor, Bolt and Screw, also on board with them. Boris Said behind the wheel, the legend himself. And then right behind here, we got that battle for the last podium spot of Chris Dyson and Tommy Dreese, the two great champions of this great series.
Yeah, you forget Tommy Dreese won his championship a few years ago now, but he's as hot as ever and all over the back of Dyson. And he's actually reeled him in the last few laps, so we'll keep an eye on this battle. I'm also keeping an eye on Will Rogers. He's up to 24th, having been in the pits. But look at this, now in traffic, maybe there's a chance for Dreese to make his move. The GT cars get offline so they can go through, and now it's back uphill, and Dreese will try to build on this through 8 and 9 to try and make a move at 11. If he doesn't do it there, he'll slot behind Dyson, and then Dyson definitely being slowed down. Dreese almost hits him. Wow.
So, you know, he timed that just right. Dreese has a run here to get down here into our final, into the turn 11 here onto the back straightaway. So the Customers Bank turn 11 there would have been a great opportunity for Tommy Dreese had he not just had that mistiming there and had to check up as to not get into the back of Chris Dyson. So great discipline on Tommy Dreese's part to not get into that mix, and he's going to live to fight another day, and he's got pace on, I believe, on the 16 of Chris Dyson, the three-time champion. Now he just has to, calm down, relax, and get another attack done.
Yeah, he's gone back to his oldest chassis, the one he won the title with last year, and so Dyson's had a struggle weekend for him, and so I think that Dreese just sees his opportunity, perhaps. He doesn't get many chances to have a pop at the 16, but as they come through the Mission Food Stadium section, Dreese getting ever closer now. And we are 7 laps into this 30-lap race. There's still plenty more to come. Gar Robinson continues at the front and is extending his lead. So, into 18, and again, more traffic to deal with. And Dreese sticking with it, though. And Dyson nice and wide.
And he got Boris Said sitting there in P2. Now, that's he is a legend for a reason. He knows what he's doing. So, this thing gets a late caution. He's not abusing the tire. He's being really easy on the tire. Gar is really setting a pace out there. A good, strong pace. In the 210s, and but Gar's no dummy either. He's, again, like I mentioned, two-time champion and doing really, really well in endurance racing. And endurance racing is all about saving your car and knowing when to pounce. So he's being super, super smart here at the head of the field. And now you're at the point you can use traffic and let traffic help you out.
Well, the Mustangs flying through the countryside of Texas. It's an old story, but it's just as new in 23 because we've got 2 of them in traffic right now, and they're trying to hold up the reins of this great battle between Dyson and Dreese. And Dreese's going to lose a lot of time here. Finally gets it done over the top of 10. Yeah, now he's got to catch back up.
That helped Chris Dyson breathe a little bit there. So Chris is going to, right now, it's about Chris setting his head down and try and open that gap, because it's a little bit more difficult for the driver behind. If they lose that sniff of the driver ahead, you lose some of those little quick advantages you can find. 5-10 feet here in a braking zone, a little bit earlier on the throttle, whatever the case may be, you're missing out on that when that distance spreads. So now Chris got to put his head down and try and open that gap and continue to open that gap so he can really focus forward.
Yeah, you can see the gap he's managed to build, and it's not comfortable because you just get the feeling that Dreese's just a little bit quicker today, and his last lap, a 2:11.1 compared to Dyson's 2:11.1. So they're on the same pace at this point, but you saw how quickly that Dyson caught him, that Dreese caught Dyson in the previous races. Plenty more to come from this here. We're not even 10 laps into this race, so more to come for sure. And we welcome back our MAV TV viewers as we've got a cracking race here. Lowry and Wang, and they're doing it again. Wang has already had one spin, but he's caught back up to him.
Yeah, I mentioned that when he did have the spin. If he just settles down and put their head down, hate to be a broken record, and hit your marks, he had pace, on Lowry here. So Wang is there, chomping at the bit, ready to attack. And this traffic up ahead looks like it might help. But look what happened here we have Boris said
And
right on the tail.
Traffic
and that's
too,
traffic for sure. You know, I mean, I said at the beginning of our broadcast, you could be 8 seconds a lap faster than the car in front of you, and look right here, you catch them in the S's, and you're going to be in trouble. They brought Boris said right to the back door of Gar Robinson, and this has just made it really interesting, folks, for the overall win.
Well, one of the most experienced drivers, two of the most experienced drivers in American racing, going at it. Gar Robinson, 28 years of age. Boris said in his early 60s, but just as fast as ever. We go on board with our leader, Gar Robinson, who is under threat now from Boris said. You talked about getting a sniff. Well, he's got that sniff. And now with the traffic coming in to play here at 11, Gar will want to clear these as quick as he can in the faster and more powerful unlimited or 850 brake horsepower plus cars. And away he goes. He's got past one, now two. But Boris said is looming.
Yeah, and you know, Boris is the kind of hunter you don't want to give him a sniff because he'll pounce. So Boris is right there on the attack, and this is going to change Gar. Look at him, he's a little defensive already. So it's going to change Gar's approach a little bit, where Gar had that comfortable lead and could just focus forward. Now he's got a mirror full of a silver engineered components Dodge Challenger.
Whoa!
Boris said, and Boris has got pace. Look at this, Boris, the torque of that Dodge.
And that was that 13 move I told you about. Full course yellow, just as he does it.
And I think Gar has slowed down, so this is going to be, pull that one back. So I believe that was done with the full course caution out. So Gar was slowing down for that, and I believe we'll maybe get that lead to exchange back. But now, that was encouraging to watch.
Will they be able to tell Boris that he needs to give the place
yeah,
back?
yeah, absolutely. That'll come over the call, and he definitely, if it's really tight, I wouldn't want to leave it up to the stewards, right? So. That's the last thing. That's the last thing you want to do in these things is to leave that up to the end and the stewards, and you fight for your life out here. So it looks like Boris is moving over and going to give the spot back. So that's good sportsmanship there. That's exactly how that's going to go down. But you know, Boris also showed his hand a little bit. Showed where he's got a little bit of pace.
Well, we are under caution here in what is turning out to be a really cracking TA2 finale here at the Circuit of the Americas. We'll take a short break, and this is the positions after lap 9. Robinson and Said going at it. Said did a move, but it was under caution, so he had to give it back. Dyson's still third, but he's trying to hold off Dreesy. Plenty to go. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Hungry for SVRA action? Well, the best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
Welcome back to the Circuit of the Americas, where we're under caution. As you can see, we're on board with Gar Robinson. That camera shot, by the way, just a bit odd. It's purple, so it's not meant to be. It needs adjusting, but and that's also not working for his miles per hour either. So don't worry, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with the car. But,
well, I mean, you got to remember what Gar said. He's having to live his dad day, and you remember back when George was running Trans Am, the in-car camera. That's kind of the quality picture you got out of it. So you know, he's really living his dad's day right there. So.
No question about it. So we're under caution, and we await the resumption of this, but so much to talk about. And in a minute, we'll also hear from Ben Sissel. He's got some interesting guests that will bring this story forward. We're under caution here, and we welcome our viewers on MAV TV and around the world on our Speed Tour live stream. But let's go down while under caution to Ben Sissel to get the latest from the pits.
Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. And Adam, you can speak to this too, but one of the first people I met in racing was John Cloud, racing with us in SVRA. Then he raced with us in TA2, won Masters a few times, but he is the one that's brought Wally Dallenbach back into Trans Am. This has been a lot of fun, hasn't it, John?
Well, it absolutely has. We started out in vintage racing, the V-Rock Series. We won the championship there together. We started running the 44 car in Group 10 with SVRA, and Wally and I decided it'd be kind of fun to drive it in Trans Am, and Tony was gracious enough to let us do that. We've decided to retire that car. We have a new one being built. It's a little bit behind schedule, so Pancho was gracious enough to allow us to run his Dodge in this event with Wally in the seat, and thank him for that very much. He's quite a gentleman, and I like to surround myself with gentlemen in racing, and it's been a real thrill. Trans Am is a thrill of my lifetime, yeah.
Nice, I love it. Now, Pancho, Wally had to start in the back of the grid, making for a very long night last night for the team.
Yeah, we had a little bit of an issue with the engine, and we decided instead of taking a chance to just go ahead and change it, give him the best run he could possibly have here today. John Cloud's been a blessing to this team. We really enjoy him. He helped us out at Mid-Ohio, and here we are at Cota, where we've done really well in the past. We got Boris also and another Dodge up front. And Boris actually got out of this seat this weekend, so John Cloud and Wally could be a part of this team this weekend. We really appreciate Boris and John Cloud and Wally. It's just a great family.
But speaking of Wally, now that we've got this full course caution, he's moved his way up, and now we're starting from green. It's almost like a restart for Wally, and knowing how fast he is, he could move up front.
And his times are as fast as the three guys in front of him, so it's going to be a race here for sure. And Wally loves to race.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We've been adjusting the car to fit his style. You know, every driver's a little bit different, and it's really coming in now. We threw a few more things in on it just before this start. You know, we missed qualifying yesterday because of this engine change. We start at the back of the pack. We started at 22nd. His first lap, he was 12th, then 9th, and now he's in 6th. And we're hoping to go forward with this yellow, tightening up the whole class.
Now, let's not get technical, but how do you set up a car to adjust to Wally's style? Is there a knob for like balls out? Is there a setting for just balls out?
Well, that might be where he has it set, yes. And we've got another knob that we didn't show him where it was at, but I can tell him on the radio, so.
Nice. Gentlemen, back to you, and Adam, you can speak to John Cloud as well.
Yeah, John Cloud is Wally and I say it all the time, and we say it sincerely, the best car owner we've ever driven for. He's a wonderful human being, and he gives us all the opportunities for success, and that's the recipe to his success in life, honestly, is support the people around you and trust them, and he's given an incredible amount of trust in us, and he's been a huge blessing in my life and in my wife's life, and yeah, we love our John Cloud. He's a great man and one of the really wonderful people of the paddock, you know, that we have here. So he's a wonderful, awesome competitor too. Like when he was at SVRA, you know, won championships, driver of the year, so many accomplishments, you know, outside of the business world, and he attacks everything with the same, momentum. He attacks it all with the same mantra: is anything worth doing is worth overdoing. And you love the guy for all that, and yeah, we're Wally is on a roll. Wally Dallenbach Jr., I'm telling you, the lap times, they're no joke. I honestly am a little suspect that the engine problem that came up might have been there from early on in the weekend, because this is the most speed that they've shown. I think he'll make quick work of Mark Austin here in that Mercedes GT3 car, and he'll go to attack up here. And there's very few racers out here on the racetrack that race as well as Wally Dallenbach Jr.
While we're under caution, let's quickly remind you of how the championship went. Chris Dyson winning over Tommy Dreesy, second. Amy Ruman, top 3 in XGT. Danny Lowry, Chris Evans, Nathan Bird. Those, of course, national championship. And then in XGT, Danny Lowry, Chris Evans, Nathan Bird, just mentioned that. SGT, Lee Saunders, Ricky Sanders, Milton Grant. And GT, Michael Attaway, Billy Griffin, and Jack Rinke, already out with that broken rear end to the car. But we're about to go to green again, and I'll tell you about the West Championship after we get another chance. But as you can see, the Honda Civic pulling in now, as Gar Robinson will pick it up at the front, but he's now under pressure from a bunch of cars that all want to beat him. But he knows he's at home. His friends are here, his family is here. He needs to win here. He's in his dad's colors from yesteryear, but it's still the Riley chassis, and he wants to bring Riley home another win. Here we go.
Yeah, there's a little bit of debris. I saw my teammate Wally Dallenbach hit on the front straightaway. Hopefully that doesn't become a thing later on. It looked like a soft piece of debris, so that's a benefit. Look at Boris said taking the lead from Gar Robinson into turn 1, and look at open the door for Chris Dyson, the 3-time champ, to look underneath at turn 2. Slams the door shut. The 74 car of Gar Robinson goes on the attack to the 79 of Boris said.
Boris said made that one looking easy at the top of the hill there, but now can he hold off Gar Robinson? That's the question. Gar Robinson's now got Dyson all behind him, so now he knows he's in a fight because he's got two of the biggest names in TA. And
it goes back to how much tire is left, right? Gar was going out and just setting pace and setting pace, setting pace. And now here you go. You know, Boris, by being coy, backed off, saved a little bit of tire, and now look at the game is on. We're lap 12 of 30, not even halfway, but still, we're looking like this is the last lap race.
I know, it's a really good one too. And nothing between the top four. Dreesy right there as well. Tommy Dreesy in 4th position.
It's a big power slide out of Gar Robinson out of turn 11 there, coming down this front straightaway, costing the time to get to the 79 Dodge of Boris said, but it's going to be hard to outbreak Boris said in this Dodge. As one of the big attributes of the Weaver Dodge that I noticed when I drove it is very, very, very solid under the brakes.
Into the stadium section, the Mission Food Stadium section, and right now Gar Robinson didn't make the move at 12, but he's eyeing himself up for that move, probably at the top of 1, just as Boris did to him. He might pay the compliment back.
Yeah, you know, this stadium section, the torque of that Dodge seems to really show up. You know, he gets a little bit of a gap here. You know, the line, look at the different lines through 16, 17, 18. That's what I love about that corner. And nobody gained time on one another through there. Pretty similar line through turn 19, cheating the entrance a little bit and the exit. And everyone's going to be on this side of the curbing there for the braking as they come onto the front straightaway and climb the hill. This is a great battle, and we watch Wally Dallenbach Jr. sitting back there behind Tommy Dreesy looking for the attack as well.
Yeah, Gar Robinson not quite close enough to get a little suck from the back of the grey car, but he stays in 2nd. Now, the next car up, Mark Austin in the 4. Wally Dallenbach, excuse me, in the Dayglow. And he is in 5th place now. And look at this. I said watch out for Will Rogers. He's coming too as well. I don't know if he's a lap down, but he's there. And now Dreesy's got some problems. He's got Dallenbach all behind him. And, yep, he is set and ready to go.
Yeah, Will Rogers is 2 laps down, so he's not really a factor. Oh, Chris Dyson spins out.
What a surprise. A rare mistake for the whole season for Chris Dyson. Never seen him do that before. I think he bounced off a curb, as often happens here at Cota, and he's found himself in the kiddie litter. Let's hope he gets it started. I don't think he's going to.
It's awfully slick out here, too. You know, the conditions are really, really slick. We were just out there in the Big Machine Vodka Spike Cooler TA2 class. And, yeah, I can attest to that. And, you know, just a little bit of the throttle with the wrong bump, as you said, Jonathan Green, as you so astutely pointed out, grabbing a little bit too much curb can make kind of the difference there. But
meanwhile, Gar's got the lead back.
Yeah, Gar got the lead back in one of those deals, in one of those situations. But, you know, Boris is not letting him go. And, you know, Boris, like, you know, push him a little harder, let him push those tires off. But that ECC Motorsports Dodge Challenger there, that thing really fired off a lot quicker than the 74 Ranch Resort car of Gar Robinson.
Well, we've got everything going on here in this race. Another lead change, and the champion has restarted. Yeah, we've just heard from race control that Chris Dyson did get it going again, so that's good news. So there'll be no need for a full course yellow and a safety car, so that means we carry on racing. Gar Robinson back at the front. He got the lead back from Boris, but Boris is tailing him hard as they come through 20.
You know, there's also a battle there too developing for the lead of XGT as we have this battle up front in the TA class. We also have between Mark Austin and Wang out there going out, and they are battling. There's only a less than a second, only 0.6 of a second separated between those, and Danny Lowry is right there in the mix as well. So we're seeing a lot of great battles there throughout the field in XGT, and then you get into the GT class. Chris Coffey seems to have that pretty well handled, you know, in GT with Joey Da Silva, P2 kind of all alone there, and then David Hampton there, you know, P3 in the GT class. As you get into SGT, you have Richard Forsyth still leading Michael LaPaglia in SGT, and then to final up that podium in SGT, you're going to get down there to Milton Grant. So really, really good battlings all the way through in all these classes of racing, Jonathan Green.
Over the top of 10 and down to 11. Heavy braking. You can see it on your dial there, on the big B and the red dial as he turns it in, hits the apex, now gets on the drive. Such an important corner here at Cota this. If you mess that up and get squirrely or get sideways or go wide, it can ruin your whole back straight, and it's a major, major part. Here's that battle you were talking about in SGT. It's really nice. Wang has caught back up. It's, sorry, XGT, and has caught right back up.
Yeah, Wang's doing a fantastic job here in this in TA, in this XGT class, and certainly isn't letting Mark Austin get away with this thing here. He cleared Lowry, who's you could just see coming in your picture, you know, way before, you know, earlier, and really that caution helped him out, brought him to Mark Austin. Now we're going to have a battle up here at the front, I feel.
Yeah, this is a great battle. The Mercedes with that fantastic color scheme with the Joker on the side. But there's no joke going on here. He's in a big battle, is Mark Austin, and loving it, I'm sure. But Wang has caught him back up again. Well, he's lost out a little bit in that Mission Food Stadium section, but and now just stretching his legs as we look high above the McConaughey complex. And the amphitheater right there. Austin in the background. What a venue this is. It's so beautiful.
It is. I mean, wonderful for you, Jonathan Green, to have this in your backyard.
It certainly is.
Speaking of backyards, Gar Robinson's backyard as well, as he lives on the local lake here. And you got, you know, Boris is not letting him go.
No, he's not.
And this is a good battle here for the final podium spot between Wally Dallenbach Jr. and Tommy Dreese. And Will Rogers has just shown where that pace of that car would have been had their fate been a little bit better without having the tire failure that he had, or the puncture earlier in the race. And I think that, you know, could come from contact or anything along those lines. It could have been a multitude of things that can happen. I've had wheel-to-wheel contact before where it rips a valve stem out. So, you know, this strange things can happen in these race cars, in this race environment.
So we're watching Wally Dallenbach, one of the greats, and another former Trans Am champion, just like Dreese, just like Gar. And sadly, I'm looking to see where Dyson's going to pop out, because he was stuck solid for a few moments there. He's down in 13th at the moment, just ahead of Hampton and just behind Joey De Silva. So Dyson will try to make his way up. He's on faster pace than those in front, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's the rare occasion that all 5 of the TA drivers that started the race here this afternoon, Jonathan Green, all 5 are past champions.
Yeah.
You know, that shows the competitiveness of what you have, you know, and sometimes it's not necessarily, you know, quantity, it's quality. And we have quality 5 TA cars and drivers fighting up for this win and the overall victory here today.
Well, Boris is back there again, and the Mission Food Stadium section is helping him, because look how close he's getting here at 15.
Yeah, they got great power in that Dodge. And so the difference between these two Weaver Dodges, not only the preparation being from different teams, ECC Motorsports prepping this Silver 79 that we're watching Boris said, Chase Gar Robinson with, but also that car right there has a 5-speed sequential gearbox in it. Now Poncho's number 4 Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger that Wally Dallenbach Jr. is driving, that has got a 4-speed, and you get a weight break with the 4-speed, but at the really slow corners here, the 4-speed could kind of work against you, and I think that's where Wally's kind of stalling out behind Tommy Dreese, I believe, and this is where you see the competitiveness too of Boris said, you know, having that extra gear, being able to pop out of these really literally around Cota, Circuit of the Americas, they're the slowest corners you will ever go in a race car. And I swear, I don't care if you're in a Formula 1 car or in a Trans Am car, a TA2 car, your corner speeds are about the same at these tight corners, you know, in all these tight spots like turn 1, you know, turn 11, turn 12, and the stadium section corners. So, so we're seeing that's a big difference you see between those two Dodges.
Well, as we've confirmed, Gar Robertson leading in TA. In XGT, it's Mark Austin in 5th overall, but leading that battle with Wang and Lowry. In GT, Coffey leads that, and he's 8th overall. Meanwhile, in SGT, Richard Forsyth leading in that group, and he is battling away with Michael LaPaglia, who's just overtaken him, incidentally. Now LaPaglia up to 11th, and now leading SGT as we speak.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that battle's been going on the whole race between Michael and Richard, and two great competitors there. And you couldn't be in two different cars either, right? I mean, that is Ford versus Chevrolet, Ford Mustang versus Chevrolet Corvette. That's that great American muscle battle that we love of the Trans Am Series.
Well, the field has spread out dramatically, but of course it could all change if we get another safety car. We've avoided it so far, but we're over halfway now in this 30-lap race, and battles going on throughout, but it's pockets of battles. TA, XGT, GT and SGT all going at it as we go back to the production classes yet again at the top of the hill. Fighting it out hard, the 24.
I think that was some really courteous driving there, letting the door open to let a competitor by. That's either quicker, different class racing there, letting them have their own battle. As we're watching, just in the distance, as I saw there in the corner of my eye, a pretty fierce battle going in the GT classes back there. I couldn't tell exactly, but Michael LaPaglia was definitely inside that mix along with the Richard Forsyth. So it'd be interesting to see how that turned out. Looking here at Chris Coffey coming into turn 12 there with that beautiful traffic graphics, Maserati GT3 car, GT4 car, excuse me, as it comes through there. What a beautiful piece that is.
Yeah, he wrote the other one off at Road America, and this is basically a brand new Maserati for him. He's also got that new sponsor in Traffic Graphics, and you can see why they do what they do, because it stands out brilliantly as we go back on board with Gar Robinson. But still plenty of drama to come from this one. It's far from over. Gar Robinson trying to get away from Boris Said. And as hard as Gar Robinson is working it in the cockpit, he can't shake Boris Said. There's nothing between them. You can see it for yourself. This is about the most it's been, about half a second at the moment. But as we come into 11, he should get a little bit of a slipstream. Great battle here also for third. And Rogers, even though his lap's down, is wanting to race.
Yeah, he's definitely, you got to poke his nose in there on Wally Dallenbach Jr. in the Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger. Wally's going to concede to that now. Wally, the savvy driver Wally is, I'm sure he's going to sit there, get a little sniff here, get a little tuck. But if Will Rogers has some pace here, go out and attack that number 8 car and pull him along with you for that last podium spot. So I look for that to be kind of a strategy that might be going through my good friend Wally Dallenbach Jr.'s head right now, as he's, go ahead and chase down that Will Rogers. Let Will, with that pace he has, he's got fresh tires too, fresher than anybody's got.
That's
out
a good
there.
point, yeah.
As they went around and changed those. So this is going to be really interesting to see if he pokes a nose there on Tommy Dreese, how that turns out, and if that opens the door for Wally Dallenbach Jr. in that Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger by Weaver Racing, if that'll let it get that podium for the day.
Biggest GT field we've had this season in 2023. Delighted to bring some of the West Coast boys here. As Tommy Dreese, we're on board with him as he comes through 19. Been a good run for Tommy Dreese. He's had some bad luck this year, but he's always good and he's always competitive. You just never know what's going to go wrong with a car.
When I won here in 2019, got a nice podium selfie with Tommy Dreese, because he was on the podium with us, and his whole family was up there with us, the wife and the kids, and it was really a pretty neat moment to be a part of. But just like I was kind of predicting here, Will Rogers has got pace. He's hunting down that number 8 Lucas Ford Mustang of Tommy Dreese, and he could possibly just drag this number 4 Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger into that final podium space overall and NTA class.
You're looking at the MAV TV sponsored Lucas Oil number 8 of Tommy Dreese, and we welcome you back because Robinson, Said and Dreese are still going at it for the top 3 positions as we're on board with 3rd place Tommy Dreese from Hollywood, California, and he is every bit Hollywood as you can imagine.
The Hollywood Tommy, yeah, no, for sure. The Rockin' Moroccan, and but all kinds of nicknames for the guy. He's fun to be around. He's a personality and a half for sure, and he brings a lot to this Trans Am paddock. Another one of those smiling faces you look forward to seeing on the weekends, quite honestly. He's been at the opposite end of the racetrack for me this weekend. I haven't been able to spend the time with Tommy Dreese as I have in the past, but he's doing a good job holding steady now. He's pulled the gap on Wally Dallenbach Jr. sitting comfortably there with that final podium position is Tommy Dreese.
Yeah, that damage to the front, I think he just hit the back of somebody else at one of the restarts or at the start of the race, because it was early on when we noticed it, but it's not causing him any problems.
Damage on the nose of Tommy's car again.
Yeah,
That's
what a surprise.
It's really that's odd. I've rarely seen that, but but no, Tommy is Tommy's not shy about, you know.
You want to talk to a Bridget Limerock.
Yeah, he's not shy about, you know, the chrome horn with that blue chrome car that he's got.
Yeah, he ripped the chrome horn off at Limerock, that's for sure.
But he's been really patient today. I have been, you know, kind of really impressed and admiring some of his patience that he has shown throughout the day here at Circuit of the Americas here for our Mission Foods Austin Speed Tour that we got going on here. As they head up the front straightaway, the great aerial shots that we have here from Greenlight TV, all the way up into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers, turn number 1.
Still one of my favorite turns in American, if not worldwide racing, this corner. This shot does not show you just how high they go. It's 133 feet from the bottom to the top. And as you go up, and you can confirm this, Adam, you can't see the apex at all.
No, you're blind to the apex. It flattens out and plateaus on top. So right when you need the help to get the thing to turn and to slow it down for that last little bit, the track falls away from you, and you desperately try and get it down to that apex. And then you fall down that hill, like you said, and you hit into turn 2. And then your entrance into the Bennett's Bridge Hall S's is very aggressive, very high commitment as you get into there for sure. And then you get down and you're finally you get a breath of air here as you get out of the S's and you come through, you know, turn 10 down here into the Customer's Bank turn 11. As you pointed out, Jonathan Green, one of the most important corners on this track when it comes to lap time and racing, because you got to get off that corner, get down this long straightaway. It's uphill as you see here. We're going to climb, plateau, come down a little bit, level off, and then we're going to be downhill in the braking zone, which kind of gets to be a little bit tricky here, because it wants to carry your speed. It's the opposite of turn 1, so you're going to come down here into the braking zone, into the Mission Foods Stadium section as we come off camera and come back to Michael LaPaglia in this beautiful Ford Mustang, leading SGT.
Yep, leading SGT, the Californian doing the business, and the man chasing him is right behind with the LED lights on to try and let him know, or try and put him off anyway. That's Richard Forsythe. He's in SGT in that Chevrolet Corvette, the Sambuca Restaurant G-Speed. I fancy a go at that place.
And you know, someone we haven't really spoke a lot, Joey Da Silva, you know, he's inside that Ave Motorsports prepared Toyota Supra, which is really cool to have out here. So we haven't seen that too much, and he's putting in a beautiful performance right there. Has a sniff of Richard Forsythe, so Forsythe cannot make a mistake, or he's going to have himself a Joey Da Silva to deal with.
Back on board with Gar Robertson as he heads up that hill. Now you see the angle I'm talking about. Now you see the fact that you can't see that apex until what, now?
Yeah,
literally.
It definitely, this track rewards track time.
We're going to go on board with Gar. Why don't you take us through it?
Yeah, so he's coming right now into the Bennett's Bridge Hall. As I said, big commitment as you really hard on throttle, downshifting here about midway through the S's, using up as much as you can, right? Trans Am rules allow us to use as much of this racetrack as possible without being too egregious with it. So you can see him cheat a little bit, right? Straddle those curbing. You're going to really cheat the inside here. In the last part of the S's, cheat this left-hander big time on the power. I don't go all the way far right just like Gar does, because it's really bumpy over there. Staying easy flat through turn 10 as you come into Customer Bank turn 11, and look who's right back on the back bumper, as Boris said, climbing right up the back of, and he got a little lock up there right at the end, climbing right up the back of the 74 of Gar Robinson. They come out of that Customer Bank turn 11, down this long straightaway, up the hill a little bit there, horsepower hill as you call it. We'll come down the hill a little bit here, and you're going to climb right into this Mission Foods Stadium section. Probably the most challenging little section of the track. This is what Adrian Newey refers to as the tiddly bits of Herman Tilke design. So the tiddly bits as we move through here now, Mission Foods tiddly bits.
Wow, that could be a new product for Gonzalez, I think. Mission Foods tiddly bits.
Yeah, tiddly bits.
I like it.
I love it. Get Adrian on board, and it's a done deal. But yeah, the Dodge is really working through there. And I tell you what, as Boris said, would love nothing more than to steal this home victory away from Gar Robinson.
Well, he said at the beginning to Ben Sissel that he was planning on overtaking right from the get-go. He's had a little bit longer. There's only 10 to go, but he's right where he needs to be. No question about it. Boris said, putting on a show at 61, fantastic. I keep mentioning his age, but it just amazes me.
Yeah, and
especially as his son's now racing against you.
And I love to see this for ECC Motorsports as well. And they don't do a full, Trans Am schedule anymore. To come in as little as they do and have the performances. I mean, AJ Hendrickson, just what brilliant performance, and at Worldwide Technology Raceway, just a couple races ago in this very car, and came here wanting to do the same thing here at Circuit of the Americas. He suffered some severe burns quite a few years ago in testing a TA car, a Cadillac that they had inside their shop. Suffered a lot of burns. He has nerve damage on that hand now, and here at Circuit of the Americas, it's just so much the bumps and the undulations, and how many, I mean, there's 20 turns here. It just really wore his hand out. He wanted to give his race team the best chance at a good run. They put Boris said the legend in there, and look at the shot they're getting right here. They got a shot at this win, Jonathan Green.
No question about it. Third place to Dreesy at the moment. We're still on board, and he's lost sight of the 2 leaders, but he's never given up. You can understand that. Dreesy wanted to finish his championship on a high. So it's Robertson, Said, and Dreesy. Dallenbach catching up. And we're watching Rogers, but of course he's a lap down, and but he's enjoying himself racing with the TA guys. He said at the beginning that he wanted to show what these guys can do, especially in an XGT spec car against TA.
And, he's got to fight, right? He's out there to fight like he wants to, and like I said, he's got pace, on this 8 car, and I think they get to mix it up. Don't look now, but that Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger is right in that rear view mirror of Will Rogers, and it's closing this gap as the time goes on. We still got 9 laps to circulate around this 3.4 mile circuit, Jonathan.
Yes, a long way to go yet, lest we forget. And Dreesy doesn't need to be embroiled in this little battle, this mini battle with Rogers, but he's enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, the information should come to Tommy is not to make this fight too hard with the 32, right? This is not a fight for position. Don't get mistaken by that and then cause yourself this final podium spot, here. So this is...
Yeah, he's actually 2 laps down, just to confirm, that because that break he took to sort out the rear tyre, they replaced it and probably replaced all 4. But Rogers isn't giving up, and he's taken the fight to Tommy Dreesy. But quite rightly, you point out that the battle really is with Dallenbach, and so he doesn't really want to waste his tyres in these last 8 laps, messing around with the all-orange of Will Rogers, who's just having a good day out here in the final race of the year. It's been a long 2023 season. It began back in Sebring back in February. We then went on to NOLA, Road Atlanta, and many others, and finally Rogers does get through. But we've been across America's racing royalty when it comes to circuits, and he's going through everybody, is Rogers.
So during our other stuff and the conversations and looking at all this, Wang has taken the XGT League, Jonathan Green. So we got Wang up in the XGT League, Danny Lowry, and I don't know what happened to Mark Austin, but he fell to 3rd in XGT.
So yeah, we've had change around while you've been away, because Wang has made a place up, and so we've got a good battle. He's 5th overall now. Dyson now back up to 6. Danny Lowry dropped down to 7. So that's where the battle at XGT is, between Lowry and Wang. Dyson between them, and Dyson now trying to catch Wally Dallenbach in the last 8 laps. Here is Dallenbach. He's getting past Tommy Dreesy though. So that was a race for position, and Dallenbach is into the podium positions.
Beautiful job, Wally Dallenbach Jr. in the Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger, prepared by Pancho Weaver. Had the engine out of this thing not but 12 hours or 24 hours ago, preparing for no way. Don't do that again. You're all by yourself, no battle. Have this lead going. Now here comes, and we're looking for Danny Lowry to be coming through. Will Danny Lowry make his way through? There's Chris Dyson. Danny should be the next guy through. Will Wayne get out? And he does. He gets out in front of Danny, maintains that lead. Maintains that lead.
That's his 2nd spin of the day.
That is. So it'd be pretty impressive. He's trying to do his best Danny Sullivan, the spin in the wind. Trying to knock that one out. Now, Danny didn't spin twice and win, so that'll be one step up.
Well, we're looking to see Lake doing a good job of holding that shot as long as we can to see where we can actually see the man behind him. But Wang just holding on. Lowry chasing him down in 7th overall, but the gap is coming down after that spin for sure. And we're running out of laps. 23 of the 30 done.
It is super slick. I can't even I can't even express how, the sun is out here now, and when the sun beats on this track, it gets super slick, especially as much running as we've been doing here. And so this is not a surprise, to see that the back ends are pretty happy in these race cars. At this late stage, too, we're starting to get in the latter stages here with 7 laps to go as we're working lap 23 of 30.
Yep, and of course, as the fuel load comes down, that also helps and adds to that as well. A little bit of tail happiness.
For sure, absolutely. And the other battles seem to be pretty solid, as Chris Coffey is again in GT class, got a comfortable lead. Michael Lapaglia and Richard Forsyth are still going at it, but there's 4.7 seconds between those two, so I don't see that really being a huge battle. Joey De Silva, he's going to be in second right now in the GT class, and then Ricky Sanders, he's also in XGT, pulling up P4 and XGT 13th overall.
Be interested to see if Dreesy can get back on level terms with Wally Dollenbach before the end of this race. But you can see the gap that Dollenbach has pulled out since he passed him on the back straight.
I feel like Tommy was losing forward drive. He hasn't had the top speed down the straightaway either as well. So I'm wondering if he's got a little bit of an illness underneath the hood there that's causing them. If you don't handle down the straightaways, Jonathan Green, here at Circuit of the Americas, Horsepower Hill. There's a reason why they call it Horsepower Hill.
Yeah.
You need to have the horsepower to get up over that hill, and if you're sacrificing any of that, you're going to be sitting here struggling. But Tommy Dreesy still doing what he's doing best, holding a pretty steering wheel, and he's going to ride this thing home, possibly P4 here. I think Wally Dollenbach Jr. has gone ahead and set sail, and the gap is pretty big now between Gar Robinson and the 79 of Boris Said as things start to settle down here, just circulating in the final laps.
Be a pretty impressive ex-champion podium, wouldn't it? Robinson, Said, and Dollenbach.
Yeah, I tell you,
about a history of Trans Am.
that could have been 30 years ago.
Yeah, good.
Honestly.
Here's Rogers again.
This is it's quite special. So yeah, Will Rogers went and showed what that thing can do, and it looks like they're going to live to fight another day and bring this thing in and retire at Chris Evans Motorsports here. But hats off to you, men and women there at Chris Evans Motorsports. You brought in a great piece. It just the luck wasn't on your side today, and you showed the speed, that the potential that this class and these cars can have, and we look forward to seeing you more in the future.
Yep. Game over then for Will Rogers. He's had a good weekend here from the West Coast, and it's great to have so many West Coasters coming here to race in the National Championship, and we welcome them to the series on the national level next year if they want to come. Chris Coffey in the 97, 9th overall at the moment and leading the way in GT.
Blue, big power slide out of the 74 coming out of the Customer's Bank turn 11. So, Gar Robinson is not leaving anything on the table, but he is here to set down the laps and just make a statement as he has pulled this gap now on the 79 Engineered Components Dodge Challenger.
Through goes the leader of TA on the leader of GT.
And you can see where the GT cars make their lap time, right?
Yeah.
Under the braking and in corner speed. The TA cars just don't have that kind of agility. But where the TA cars outhandle every GT car on the planet is down a straight line.
Yeah, this is an interesting track to see production versus the prototypes effectively, or the tube frame cars, because obviously the grunt is there in these TA cars, but the twiddly bits, as you mentioned earlier, and a lot of slow corners as well, and that's where the production cars shine, especially the Maseratis and the Mercedes.
Yeah, for sure. And this is we don't have a lot of Porsches here,
no.
but this is also a wonderful track for that brand as well. The Lamborghini, obviously at the hands of Wang, is performing quite well. Both those Mercedes-Benz that we see out of Danny Lowry and Mark Austin obviously are doing a fantastic job. Then we got to see the American muscle of the C7 Corvette and the Mustang, and the current generation Mustang out there doing their business, and Chris Coffey out there representing the European brands with that Maserati. As we look at Michael Lapaglia, it comes right on cue here for this Ford Mustang. That's prepared by Adrian Vlastowski's crew there. That's sitting under Fast Motorsports tent. A great group there and a great addition to this paddock, as we spoke about many. But Forsyth, not that far behind. This could still be a battle, as there's still 5 laps left in this race, and this is Trans Am racing, Jonathan. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. Forsyth in 11th at the moment, Lapaglia in 10th. Here's that battle again as we go back with Forsyth. He's taking the headlights off now.
Yeah, well, this is the 58. Forsythe doing his thing and trying to gain that gap and maybe use a little bit of the TA cars, maybe mixing it up with his competitor up there might help bring it back to have it a little bit of a manageable gap. But we seem to have pretty big gaps throughout all our classes to where there's really not, it seems like the podiums seem to be set throughout these classes as they're just trying to bring it home with 5 laps left. Now it's just going to be slick, greasy, and it's about just keeping these things straight. As we saw from Wang, anything can happen.
Yeah, SGT led by LaPaglia goes off into the distance, and in a moment you'll see Joey De Silva and Ricky Sanders. They're battling in 12th and 13, but it's GT versus XGT. Back with Dreesy.
And I can't say enough, too, about, again, watching my teammate up there, in P3, taking that last podium spot, Wally Dallenbach Jr. in that Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger. We got the Lucas Ford Mustang here, MAV TV on board with Tommy Dreesy. This has been a beautiful livery all year long. You always look forward to what liveries that Tommy Dreesy is going to bring, and I look forward to 2024 for a lot of reasons, but one of those reasons, to see what Tommy Dreesy brings is a livery.
Well, he used to, because he does work in the film industry, and he used to distribute, he does distribute movies, and he put the logo of the movie on the side of the car, whether it be Terminator or whatever the movie was that summer. And so that was always fun for a couple of races to see his new side up. Now, here's the number 16 of Chris Dyson. He's made it all the way back up to 5th place. He's behind Tommy Dreesy on track, but the gap is considerable. It's some 30 seconds or so.
Let's just say this was a weekend that Chris Dyson probably would like to just go ahead and forget. Go ahead and log that one away as what it is. He sealed this championship up already back at VIR, so this was a done deal. So this wasn't the performance that we're used to seeing out of the 3-time champion, but if you count him out for 2024, you do that at your own peril. This team, the CD Racing, will come back stronger than ever next year. They're going to go to work this winter. I can promise you to make sure that they are all sorted and come back and defend this championship with honor like they've done the 2 previous times.
Jim Weeds, those colors, the purple, the white, the 16, and the Jim Weed sponsorship on that Ford Mustang have been synonymous with this 2023 season. And there's been thousands of photographs from our excellent photographers throughout the season. We'll see more tonight at the gala. And it's a big gala dinner tonight to celebrate the whole season and hand out the prizes. And I know that Chris Dyson will be absolutely tickle pink to pick up that 3rd title. And I think in some ways he argued that we had, that was a bit of a moment. He argued that this was the hardest one in many ways, because even though on paper it looked hard, he's been swapping chassis throughout this season, trying to get that Riley where he wants it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of challenges. They at the end of 2022 when they sealed up the championship, they moved on to the Ave Riley program. With the new Ave Riley chassis, Ave AV3 or AR3, I believe is what they're calling it, and so they found electrical struggles, a lot of it. Matthew Brown's come in and done some developing, and Matthew's found a little bit of luck in the car, won the season opener at Sebring in it. So it's just really been not necessarily the cut and dry year, for Chris Dyson as maybe 2022 was. So 2023 was a fight for him all the way here to the end. So like I said, he'll come back stronger than ever, next year, and we'll see CD Racing doing what they do best, and that's fight for this championship.
So confirmation, Robinson said the gap 6.8 seconds. I don't think that's going to change, but here's the Mercedes line and stern. The 2 Mercedes going at it. Danny Lowry in the 43 and the 11. Lowry in 7th overall. Mark Austin in XGT as well in 8th. So that's a good little battle in XGT between those two, but they're both chasing. Wang in 6th position. He's leading in XGT.
And this is a great battle forming up here between Lowry and Mark Austin in the XGT battle. Still don't know what happened to Mark Austin. He was handily leading this thing, missing it up there at the top there. So don't know what mistakes came about him or, there's been a lot. It's been a tricky condition day today, Jonathan Green. So he might have spun or found himself off track a little bit. That cost him the time because he was in a commanding lead, at one point of this event in XGT. And right now he's battling for that 2nd place position with Danny Lowry.
Running out of laps, but the 2 Mercedes going at it in XGT. Out of 18 they come, 1 in red, 1 in blue, and there's nothing between them. As closing in now, Austin looking for a way past, and if he doesn't do it here at 20, he's going to have a pop at him, I'm sure. up the hill towards turn 1. Here we go.
You got to get that drive off of turn 20. It looks like Mark Austin did get good drive, but Daniel Lowry didn't let the grass grow under his feet either. He got himself on the gas pedal and the loud pedal quite early, and he's going to climb up this hill and to keep that position protected from Mark Austin's attack as we look at with 3 to go here.
Yeah, don't forget the hula girl in the front of Lowry's car. She's bouncing from side to side, playing her little mandolin.
You get a lot of action with the hula girl around Circuit of the Americas, let me tell you.
Under the bridge and through the S's again. Just 2 to go after this. And nip and tuck between these two. They are on song.
This is our battle on the racetrack, ladies and gentlemen at home. So this, for our race fans at home, as that's a big lunge from Mark Austin. He thinks better of it, backs out, and lives to fight another day to try and get that position at another area on the track. That is a low percentage move there.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, that wasn't a good lunge because he's lost time.
Yeah, so it's you know, that's you could gain a run through somebody there if they make a mistake at the end of the S's, and you can make that pop. But they really have to make a pretty big egregious error there. And again, coming out of this turn 11, this Customers Bank turn 11, to fly ourselves up Horsepower Hill and get into the Mission Food Stadium section, that's really where Mark Austin seems to shine. He gets through the tiddly bits a little bit better than his competitor up in front of him.
So 28 of the 30 done. It's been an absolute brilliant display by Gar Robinson. We're watching, as we would, this battle for XGT for the podium. Wang up the road in 6th overall, but this battle for 7th and 8th between Danny Lowry, who's the regular, and Mark Austin, who's done some of the races but not all. Chris Coffey leading in GT. He's in 9th overall. LaPaglia lead. Oh, no! Round goes the number 11.
Mark Austin again. So that might have been, you know, that again, it's been really slick and greasy, and it seems like the XGT cars are lacking the most support. And for XGT cars, they do have a lot of the things that you're used to having in your road car. For example, anti-lock brakes, and a certain amount of it's a race programmed traction control and stability control. So I think sometimes you can rely on those a little bit too much, but the laws of physics can't be rewritten by those programs, and they're exceeding the laws of physics and spinning there. Who's not exceeding the laws of physics is doing it just right is my buddy here, Wally Dallenbach Jr. in this Ultimate Headers Dodge Challenger. I guarantee you he is grinning from ear to ear, doing such an awesome job as you imagine from this man. And I know my car owner, my good buddy John Cloud down there is also got a big smile from ear to ear watching the performance of his 2 race cars here today.
He's going to see the white flag fairly soon, but Dallenbach rolling back the years, just as Boris said is doing too. Gar Robinson, just 28 years of age, but already got 2 championships under his belt. He left Trans Am and went on to IMSA, and he's been hugely successful there at the sharp end again in 2023, but decided to come back for the one-off and race the Riley chassis in honor of his dad in many ways, because those were the colors of his dad. And Wally Dallenbach, as always, for Ultimate Headers, given a chance by John Cloud to race, and he gets that chance and takes it. And you can see the Ultimate Headers on the side. What do they do, the Ultimate Headers? I presume headers.
Yeah, they do custom headers for all your needs, all your automotive needs. Big in the hot rod industry. They have a patented manifold attachment. That's how you instantly know that it's an Ultimate Headers. We are running Ultimate Headers on our TA2 car, so it's awfully cool to get to have a sponsor in the car. We're actually using the product, and you know, they do phenomenal work. And you know, any of your header needs, they could do one-off custom pieces, measure your car specifically, do exactly what you're looking for, and they build horsepower. As you see, Gar has no problem putting that horsepower down, gets a little wiggle, and fires up Horsepower Hill.
How much do your tires go off in TA? You've got all that power, and surely you must be putting a lot through the Pirelli.
Yeah, here at Circuit of the Americas, you're going to go through the tire. You know, it's a tire management. I'm honestly seeing that's maybe what Gar was doing when we saw the battle so close between Boris Said and Gar Robinson was, you know, maybe a little bit of tire management. Gar was really good at that in the Big Machine Vodka Spiked Coolers TA2 series when he won his 2 championships. So I think he's definitely carrying those lessons over to the bigger cars. And what a great job. I mean, you can't say enough about what the young man has done here today and this weekend. And he's carried this pace, and they come prepared. They come setting themselves up for success. You know, Gar just didn't jump in the TA car this weekend. Wasn't his first time driving one. They went and they tested, made sure that things are ready and that there's no surprises. So they do. The Robinsons are really smart at setting themselves up for the best chance of success. But you still have to execute, and that's something that Gar has shown. throughout his career. He's very good at executing the plan. And as he comes down the start-finish line here, I believe, is this for the white flag?
No, it doesn't come out yet, so that's interesting. Oh, no, there's the white flag.
Yeah,
sorry.
White flag's
White
out.
flag, last lap then.
Yeah, we'll circulate the last lap here for this young man.
Keep forgetting, because the checkered flag is always at the front, but now it's been moved for Trans Am, and Gar Robinson picks up that white flag. 1 to go then for the mighty Gar Robinson. And the local man from Austin, we had Riley Dickinson here a few weeks ago doing the business in Carrera Cup, a local man from Austin, or just down the road a little bit, in Buda,
and I'm going to tell you,
outside Kyle.
No, I tell you, it's going to make Gar smile so big, not only winning this race, but to share a podium with Wally Dallenbach Jr.
I know.
This is a person that has been in Gar's life his entire life. George Robinson and Wally Dallenbach Jr. are the best of friends, and they hunt together, they fish together, they laugh together, eat great food together. So I mean, it's just it's a big happy family here. So he's going to have a lot of enjoyment, a lot of great memories that he's making here. Just has to keep that wheel nice and steady. He's got himself a massive 5.5 second lead over Boris Said, and just bring this thing home.
Down the back straight for the last time then, Gar Robinson. What a day for him. He picked the colors of the car of his dad George, and he said, this is like as close to my dad as I can possibly get, racing here at home. Friends and family are here to celebrate it. It's been a great weekend. I read the press release last night. He said, we're just having a ball here right now, and he's concluded it with a win, and that's all he could ask for. And he's a great character, is Gar. I saw him earlier in the day and congratulated him on the pole position. No mean feat to jump into any other championship that you're not in, regardless of your pedigree in the past. But he jumped straight onto it, took the pole over guys that have been doing it all season long, and he's now about to complete it. Just a few quarters to go. He's going to hold off the mighty Boris Said, one of the greats of all time here in the USA, and of course Wally Dallenbach Jr. Here he comes out of 19.
Yeah, he's got to just navigate turn 20, 90-degree left. He'll make that hit, nail the apex, nail the throttle. Look at the big power slide, doing it in style. George Anderson Robinson coming to get that checker flag. Gar, you did it. You're a Trans Am winner. You've won in both classes, TA, Big Machine, Vodka Spike Coolers, TA2 Series. That's in rare air. Congratulations.
Yeah, so he is another guy that's won in TA and TA2. We've had one back-to-back in VIR. Connor Zilic did it. Here comes Wang to win in XGT. That's Xuan Quinn Wan in the number 22 from the West Coast in that Lamborghini. And Gar coming down to a slowdown, but really enjoying it. And now he's going to do some burnouts in the Pirellis. But what a great race that was. First place, Gar Robinson. Boris Said second, and Wally Dallenbach third.
Yeah, this is...
So, as you can see, they pull out to the...
yeah, this is
support paddock.
Yep, turn 5 is where they peel us off. He'll go right to Tech, and then he'll hop on a golf cart, and they'll rip him right down to the podium for the ceremony. There's we watch a battle. Here's Forsyth.
Oh, Lapaglia just calls off Forsyth.
Boy, this is wild back and forth. That could, you got to be a little careful with those moves, Michael. But a great run there right at the end. That GT race.
There comes Wang.
And Wang comes home in that leading or winning in XGT. 5th overall is Wang. Really great run by him. Danny Lowry's going to come in 2nd. Mark Austin in 3rd in XGT. Chris Coffey went in GT. We watched Michael Lapaglia and Richard Forsyth. Richard Forsyth set the fastest lap of his race.
I know, that's amazing.
On the last lap.
Wow.
So he was definitely putting in the fight all the way to the end. But great racing all the way through. As we also look, I said, Chris Coffey, Joey De Silva, and Todd Naparowski round out your GT podium as well.
Yeah, Coffey doing the business in that one. 9th overall.
So really good racing all the way throughout.
Yeah.
And what would you expect? We had, 25 cars out there, 26 cars, and it did not disappoint Jonathan Green. And a big thanks. We're going to get to celebrate, as you mentioned, the Trans Am year at our gala tonight. But a huge thanks to all the men and women of the Trans Am series, Pirella Motorsport Holding. You make it just a magical place to be, a wonderful place to race, and we can't thank you enough, and for all the time and sacrifices away from home, and to be here at Circuit of the Americas to celebrate it all tonight, it's going to be great and special.
Yeah, and there's lots to tell you about. Boris Said winning the Masters, of course. as well as getting second place overall. XGT, the 11 winning in that. That's Mark Austin, and in the National Championship, and Wang in the Western Championship. And we welcome our viewers back on MAV TV as we conclude our TA feature race of the final day of the Trans Am Series for 2023. Here's the results. Confirmation then of Gar Robinson and 74 Ranch Resort with a win in TA, and he's been a winner in TA and TA2, just like Connor Zillage. Boris Said takes second. Wally Dollenbach in third, a great run from the back. Chris Dyson in the end finished fourth, having had that spin into the gravel. Joaquin Wan, the top man in the West Coast, and also leading the XGTs, but in sixth place it's Mark Austin. Danny Lowry seventh, Tommy Dreesy in eighth. Chris Coffey leads the GT crew in the Maserati in ninth position. Michael LaPaglia leads in SGT and wins in SGT ahead of Richard Forsyth. Good little finish to that one. And also Joey De Silva in the GTs. Naparalski, Hampton, Menet, Ricky Sanders in 16th, Larry Luck in 17th, and then Sharakanyan in 18th position, Joe Bogadich in 19th, and Brandon Westenberg in 20th. And a little further down, Michael Attaway, part of our regular crew for the National Championship. Michelle Nagai from the West Coast. Will Rogers, likewise, after that problem in the pits and the rear suspension and tyre, down in 23rd. Milton Grant, a regular in SGT, and Jack Rinke going out with suspension early on. Wow, catch your breath. Another great 100-mile race, and a great way to finish the season off with a bumper field, and probably the most GT cars we've had all season long. And I would have thought that would have been a good place to get a view of it, up at the tower there. Little fella, I don't know if I'd be up there at his age.
It was the best view of this track for sure.
Yeah.
From up there.
He's not scared, is he?
You can't really find a bad spot to spectate here when they